Hey guys, this is Ben with No Accent Callers here, and today we have an awesome video. We're going to be going over how to close a wholesale real estate deal. Whether you were trying to get your first deal or you're running a big sales process, we're going to be going over very macro things, how to set up an intro call, your underwriting, your closing call, but also very micro things on how to set up some follow-up sequences to make sure that you are actually making money. So for those who don't know me, my name is Ben. I'm one of the founders here of No Accent Callers. We currently run a 400-person virtual call center that is primarily focusing in outbound cold calling for real estate professionals. From wholesalers who are looking to do their first deal, all the way up to hedge funds that have hundreds of millions under management, where we're doing cold calling for their commercial and industrial acquisitions. So a big problem that a lot of people deal with within the wholesale space is they blame the leads. Well, Ben, this is a video about sales process. Why are we talking about people blaming the leads? Well, guess what? You know what shitty sales reps do? You know what a shitty sales process does? They point the finger. They blame the leads. So mistake number one that most people make, and this typically shows up in phase number 2 after they've generated a lead. Because if we think about it, okay, now that the ambulance is not making noises anymore, we get a lead. We call up the lead and we try to close the deal. But the biggest problem that people make is as soon as they get a lead, whether it is from direct mail, PPC, cold calling, SMS, is as soon as they get a lead, well, what do? They judge the lead. Oh, this guy says they want to sell in 6 months. I'm not going to call them. Oh, they say that they want to sell for $20K above asking price. That's a terrible lead. And this grinds my gears more than anything as someone who straddles both marketing and sales, because marketing and sales hate each other. It's like two heads clashing at all times. Well, what does sales want? Sales wants the greatest laydowns of all time. They don't want to work. They don't want to sell. They don't want to follow up with the leads and do their job to get it across the finish line. They just want laydowns. They want it easy. They want to be fed like princesses. Now, to the other side of marketing just wants leads. They want the lowest cost per lead. They just want to be able to feed the reps with good volume. So you typically have the dynamic of back and forth, where at the end of the day, the end goal is ROAS, is a positive ROI, but everyone has different incentive systems. So a lot of people prejudge the leads. They won't even call them up because they think they're bad. And I'm going to use an example of like the high ticket sales space, because I get a lot of my marketing from there. So if you go look at anyone who is selling a course through paid advertising, you'll go click to their ad and you're going to see a landing page that has a headline, that has a VSL, and that has a form. Very, very similar to the funnel that I use for No Accent Callers. Let me pull that up real quick just so you guys can see it. Okay, here we go. So we have an example. We have headline right here. We have, this is a trust badge, name, blah, 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 VSL. But most importantly, we have the book a call button. Because when you click book a call button, what happens? You go through the type form. And when you go through the type form, people are going to answer questions. So what does this all matter when it comes down to prejudging the leads? There was actually a data study that was done that 50% of the people who fill out the application actually lie, specifically when it comes to a financial question. Because with these high ticket sales programs, they'll typically say, hey, this is not a course, it costs $5,000 to invest, blah, 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 blah. But they also have other qualifying questions that will help them determine, are they someone who is financially qualified? Well, there's a crazy thing that happens. People get aware to marketing and sales processes. So guess what? Rich people put less on their form. Why? If they know I'm rich, if they know I'm making money, they're going to pitch me way higher. Well, guess what? If I'm broke, if I click less money, I get kicked off the form. Well, I'm interested in XYZ service or course. Well, let me go put my income as higher. So by default, the questions on the form are inaccurate. And when we go back to this right here and we prejudge the leads, this is just in lead generation. We haven't even gotten to on the phone yet. This is where so many people make mistakes. They try to optimize for what is perfect. They only want what's easy. This is a big mistake that a lot of sales reps make. So don't prejudge the leads. Call the motherfucking leads. Now we get into the intro call. Well, so what is a great intro call? A great intro call is not making a fucking offer. So I grinds my gears more than anything. Lead comes in through a cold caller. Well, guess what? We got an asking price, a timeline, and motivation condition of the property. And you know what they call? They do the underwriting before they even talk to the seller. Yes, the cold caller talked to the seller. They got an asking price. They got a timeline. They got a motivation. They got a condition of the property. But guess what? There is no rapport built. If you're hoping that rapport off a fucking cold caller, off a form fill, off an ad, does all the job for you, and you think you just go make an offer and close, you're not going to make it in this business. And I see it happen so many times. So the mistake that they make is they make an offer on the first call, where on the first call, I don't even talk about numbers. I want someone to know me. I want someone to like me. I want someone to trust me. And most importantly, I need to know their motivation on why they want to sell. Because going back to the actual sales process, they're selling a home that, let's just say it is owner occupied. They've lived there for quite some time. It's emotional if they're in pre-foreclosure, if they're in divorce. There's a lot of things that go on. You're not going to go one call close them. Man, go look at people who are selling these courses that for these biggest influencers ever. It's like I keep bringing back all this, but they don't even one call close. You got to follow up. So what do I do on the first call? More than anything, rapport. I want someone to like me. I want someone to remember, because someone who wants to sell, especially if they are in some type of motivation, they'll have a lot of people calling. How do you cut through the noise? But then the most important thing is digging into the why. Motivation. You get into the why, you do blah, 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 all of that stuff, and then you get into the condition of the property, blah, 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 blah. But this transition from phase 2 to phase 3 is incredibly important. And what I like to do is refer to the senior underwriter. So you typically see this in merchant cash advance sales, where you have an opener, a cold caller, go in and get the statements, the bank statements, the credit application. Well, man, if I am cold calling someone and I'm trying to get them a loan, well, what are the objections that they get? What are the terms? What is the interest? What is the payments? And when you're selling merchant cash advances, by default is a unsecured, high interest, fast loan. Most people don't want that. They want a revolving line of credit. So how do we get their statements in? Well, man, we have a lot of programs. I can't determine what you qualify for until you get me your bank statements and your financials. Look, what we do is I'm going to get the statements right now, and I'm going to go back to my senior underwriter. Who's the senior underwriter? No one needs to know. It's just a senior underwriter. It doesn't matter. It's part of the sales process. It's propaganda. We're framing this as a big operation, because now the opener, the sales rep, the person who's building rapport, their job is to fight for the client, the merchant, the homeowner, to get them the number. But the big, bad senior underwriter is going to be the one who gives the final offer, who sets the leeway, who controls everything. But I'm on your side, Mr. Client, Mr. Homeowner. I'm going to get you the number one number. I just need to know X, Y, Z. That's why the intro call is all about the motivation. It's not about the number. We're building that know, like, and trust with them. And then we're going to send it over to the big bad underwriter. Well, who's the big bad underwriter? It's me, my team, blah, 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 blah. So now what we do is we come back, and I don't like to come back and just say, hey, I have a number for you. The most important thing is the why. So we need to find out what the why was before, hence the intro call. Because now our whole entire sales process is about the motivation. I am working a deal right now. It is a commercial building. Well, I'm not going to tell you guys the location, but it is a guy who has owned that commercial building, used to have it for his landscape company, and then also has 21 units of single family. And he was actually having a heart attack. And I called him when he got out of the hospital. And the original notes from the cold call, because this is a cold call lead, is they want to sell because they were in the hospital and they spend too much time taking care of people in their life, and he wants to take care of himself, put him first, and move to Italy. So as we're going through, I'm learning about him and his business. I'm talking about his family, because guess what? A lot of his decisions in his life, putting his family first, working really hard, making a lot of money, put everyone else first except for him. Had some health issues, was in the hospital for 9 weeks. Now he wants to put himself first. Well, why does he want to go to Italy? His family's from Italy. So now we start talking about Italy and all this stuff and making homemade olive oil and drinking wine. And I kid you not, he sighed on the call. He's like, oh, that sounds so good. So now we go back. Our numbers are pretty off, but I have a clear motivation. What would you rather do? Try to save $100,000 by getting the best offer ever, but not get your deal at all, and unfortunately, not be able to go enjoy the life that you want. Or we can make a deal right now. We could do this number. You don't have to pay any of the realtor fees. We go as is. You don't have to work with any middleman. So that you can go to Italy. So that you can go make your homemade olive oil. So you can go drink wine and put yourself first. Look, man, the numbers are the numbers. We could figure out numbers. You've been making deals for quite some time. I don't doubt that we can make it work. But the most important thing is, like, how badly do you want to start putting yourself first? Enjoy the time that you have, because what you said earlier is that, man, like, perspective has changed. That's what we mean by sell the motivation. Obviously, we go back and forth on the numbers and we get it signed. Well, guess what if we don't agree? There's a reason why we had this very, very deep call. There's a reason why they're listening to some random people over the phone that they don't really know us. It's because they have that motivation to sell. That's where the follow-up comes in.